Alright, good evening people. I just filmed this video and there was no fucking sound. For fuck's sake. Piece of fucking shitty microphone. Look. Hey, is that even a problem? Will it work this time? Who the fuck knows? Good God, so I'm going to run through these real quick right now. Fucking hell, that's so annoying. Getting ready to upload this before I go to bed. No sound. Sound like this. Fuck off. Anyway, 1967, I watched The Sorcerers. Boris Karloff, him and his wife, they're old, they're decrepit. So they hypnotize this guy so they can relive their youth through him. And of course that shit's not going to go well, and it doesn't go well as we go through the film. Not very good. I give it a 5. Then a film from 1986 called Dead Time Stories, framed around this snotty little brat who can't sleep and wants some stories told to him. Fucking little shit he was. Story 1 is about 2 witches wanting to resurrect their sister. Give it a 6. Story 2 was based around Little Red Riding Hood. Give it a 6. Story 3 based on Goldilocks, who just happened to be a serial killer. Give that a 5. Not very good. Nor was this piece of shit, let's be fair. From 1925, The Monster. Lon Chaney, The Monster. Didn't even click to me that 1925, it'll be a silent film. No, I didn't notice that. But a general store clerk and aspiring detective investigates a mysterious disappearance that took place close to an empty insane asylum. It was rubbish. Didn't like it. Give it a 4. Then from 1968, an odd film with Burt Lancaster called The Swimmer. He spends the entire film in just a pair of swimming trunks because he's got this bright idea that he's going to go home. He's at this house, and he's got he's going to swim home. What does that entail? Because I didn't quite get it. Houses, they're his neighbours, but bloody big, fucking large neighbours over a massive fucking distance. House lead to his, and every house has a pool because Americans always have pools in the fucking gardens. So he's going to run to each house across fields, roads. He's going to run. Then he's going to swim a lap in that house's pool, engage with the people that live there, go off, rinse and repeat. Odd film, quirky film. You know, the drama comes from the people he meets. He knows them. They all know him. I give it a 7. Quite an, as I say, a quaint film. I liked it. He wasn't as intense as usual. Then this. If you watched my video last week, you'd be thinking, why has he watched that again? Because I watched the 1932 British version. Shorter. Some of it seemed dubbed. But then some of it didn't. Peter Lorre speaks in English. A different director reshot some shots. Why you would do that, I don't know. But it just feels inferior. I give it a 7. The print's a little bit rougher, and it just doesn't seem as good. But I'm glad I watched it, because I can do something, I don't know. Then from 2006, Hollywoodland. All around the death of George Reeves. This is a fictionalized story of the events surrounding George Reeves' death. It was a suicide. He shot himself. Adrien Brody doesn't think so. And we flip between the present and the past. Ben Affleck is George Reeves. You see him playing Superman and all that kind of stuff. That was more interesting than the present. Interesting film. Probably none of it's true because it was a fictionalized version, but decent cast. Ben Affleck, Bob Hoskins, Diane Lane, Adrien Brody. Then 1959, The Hanging Tree with Gary Cooper. 1959, all set in the gold rush like era. Gary Cooper's a doctor. He saves this kid from a lynching. and then he owns him because he saved his life. Then they help this woman who's gone blind because she got attacked in her stagecoach, and all about the people interacting with each other. You've got George C. Scott as a faith healer. Cast aside him, let me place my hands upon you. Yeah, not in it much, but crazy bastard when he is. So that's most. Then I got a chance to watch some Netflix films. Name a streaming platform, and there'll be some films in there that I'd like to watch. If I don't get to watch them, I won't lose any sleep over it. But if the chance ever arises, then yeah, I'd like to watch them. And the chance did arrive. So I watched 4 Netflix films. All Quiet on the Western Front from 2022. Very good film. I think we all know that from the 30s film. Is there a book? Maybe. I wouldn't put it quite as good as the 30s film, but it was a very well-made film. I thought so. Give it an 8. Then I watched Pinocchio, which I had no interest in seeing because it looked ugly. But it wasn't ugly. It was beautiful looking. A friend of mine said, watch it, let's watch it. Watch it, you'll like it. I thought, oh, right, shut up. So we watched it. And she was right. I enjoyed it for the most part. It's familiar, but different. Or it's different, but familiar. Some things I didn't like about it, of course. I'm not sure I liked the design of the terrible dogfish, aka Monstro. When I say it's different but familiar, of course I'm basing it on the 1940s Pinocchio, which is everybody's basis of comparison, I would imagine. A couple of characters not in here, Stromboli, Honest John and Gideon. As I say, it's different but familiar enough. Give it an 8. Then I watched 2 films of a trilogy. Fear Street, 1994, and Fear Street, 1978. Fear Street, Part 1, 1994, makes a change not being set in the 80s. After a series of brutal slayings, a teen and her friends take on an evil force that has plagued their town for centuries. Ooh, yeah, a supernatural slasher film. Despite my hatred of most slashers, I give it a 7 because I quite liked it. And then I watched Part 2, 1978, which is more of the same, but set in a summer camp. I think all 3 of them are linked. They connect. These first 2 do, because the opening of 1978 starts in 1994 with 2 of the kids from that film. Then we go back in time. And I imagine the next one, 1666, we'll find out how this curse became. At least that's what I'm guessing. So that is everything I watched this week. Hopefully I'll get to watch the 3rd one of those and a couple more Netflix films. All being well, the sound on this piece of shit actually works. I'm not filming it again. So I'll see you next week with any luck. Have a good week.